Thank you very much, Florian and Laura, for welcoming me on this webinar. Happy to share my experience that we have, the experience that we had at LEM regarding the rollout of the Climate Fresk. Exactly. So the agenda that we have for today is the following. So basically, I'm gonna give you like a quick intro of who we are, what is LEM doing, then how we are currently working to integrate sustainability at really the core of the companies, and then what is the role basically of the Climate Fresk in these overall strategies, and then of course there'll be some dedicated time for question and answers. So thanks a lot for your participation, and looking forward as well to the discussion that we will have at the end. So who we are. So basically, LEM stands for Life Energy Motions. That's a 50-year-old companies based in Geneva, in Switzerland. We are mid-sized companies, about 1,800 employees across 17 different countries. And basically what we do is that we are producing electrical components called current sensors. We have different technologies that are here to support, the monitoring of electricity in different applications. So from really small chips, some ICS, what we call integrated current sensors, to really bigger modules that are here really to support and monitor energy in the overall systems. There are different technologies behind, like single or multi-phase or bus bar and PCBs that we are mounting into our product, but that's really the technical part of the product itself. And then, yeah, we are basically serving the electrification of the economies. We are following the different mega trends that you could foresee, that are basically energy efficiencies, decarbonization, digitalization, and electrification. So we are B2B companies, and where are we located? So our current sensors are currently in a wide, in quite a lot of different applications. So we have some of our sensors in electric vehicles. You can see it here directly. We have also our sensors in charging stations that are enabling, basically the powering of those vehicles. We are into trains. We are into renewable electricity as well. Windmills, photovoltaic panels, but also more, more product that we are using at home, such as e-bikes, such as some local appliances as well, and also in specific sectors such as robotics, in the production chains in different companies. They are using our sensors to monitor the current in there. And also in hospitals, we have also key components into MRI, into scanners, into that kind of machines where we need to have high precisions. So that's a bit where we are. So our sensors are really hidden into the final applications. That's why it's really it's not a name that would probably ring you a bell if you are a consumer. Moving to the next slide, basically integrated sustainability at core. So this is something that we are currently doing at the moment. So we have our purpose, which is to help our customers and society accelerate the transition to a sustainable future with our existing portfolio of products. We are supporting the transitions. We have basically our product range, our product strategy, which is aligned with this purpose. And we are currently working on how basically make our own processes more sustainable. So become kind of, the role model into the sustainability, integrating really sustainability at core, and how we are basically in the processes that, and how we, 1, 2, 3, and also into the processes that we are having on a day-to-day basis to make sure that we are really, role model into the transition. So this is currently happening, and the Climate Fresk is running a key part within this strategy. So, how does the LEM story, the love story begin? Basically, what we've done is that we've been, organizing Climate Fresk workshops in 2 different locations, in France and in Switzerland. to really discover what was this workshop that a lot of people were hearing, that a lot of people were talking about, to really understand what was the energy that was behind such a workshops. And that was a real success. So we had two workshops, one for each location, and the participants were really happy about the workshops. They think it was really energizing, that we deployed a lot of collective thinkings. It was really seen as well as a team building exercise, which reinforced my wish to use these workshops as really something to make people aware a bit more of climate change, really part of the environmental pillar that we are also developing at the same times. The approach as well of the workshop was very well appreciated, and as well the scalability, because it was then quite easy to make it to train our own trainer internally and then roll it out to a wider stage. We also had decided that basically the first people that participated to the workshops, they were members of the local green committees. As part of our own sustainability organization, we have what we call green committees that are embedded, or that are at every location, at every our key location, that are here to promote sustainability across local actions. And they were the key driver into this rollout, because among those peoples, some of them really want to dedicate more time to sustainability and become basically animators and share the commitment to the different colleagues. And basically the fact to have internal trainers was also very positive perceived by the audience, and also very well very motivating, I would say, for every employee in the company, and especially the one who wanted to invest more time into the topic. So as of today, we've got 6 trainers. So in the first place, we had 8, but 2 of them left the company. So 6 of them are still there, and we are counting on them to roll out those workshops on a regular basis. Then what did we implement to roll it out at a further stage? Basically, we have defined kind of a project mode approach to scale it up. We have defined specific templates, such as visual identities to promote the Climate Fresk within the organization. So we had such a promotion posters that were broadcasted on the different screens that we have within the organizations, in Switzerland, in France, in Bulgaria, in Germany, where we rolled out the Climate Fresk first. So dedicated posters with a visual identities. We also define a dedicated toolbox with materials, such as what is the Climate Fresk, such a one-pager, or how to organize the workshops internally that have been sent to local entities, to really how to run a workshop internally. Those kind of registration form as well, and QR codes, so that everyone can register for workshops. We also had some email announcements, templates, for examples, and also some thank you emails with dedicated feedback questionnaire to get the some inputs from our colleagues. So this is, for example, the what we've been using for the email templates, trying to make it as well appealing with pictures. Here are, for example, the 6 tips and advice to participate to such a workshops. We also leverage different communication channels. So as I was mentioning, we have been, promoting the workshops throughout internal screens, but also throughout our intranet. We have dedicated article on our intranet. But also I was on my side, hijacking some of the manager meeting to promote directly the Climate Fresk with 2 slides, and telling my colleagues why it is important to join such a workshops, why is it in line with the company's objectives. And then last but not least, we also define those KPIs that you can see here to monitor, the participation, of course, of the workshops, and to follow basically, of course, key indicators such as, the number of participants, such as the number of people that have been trained, the number of actions that have been, identified throughout those workshops, number of IDs, and the one that are currently being rolled out, the one that have been, implemented as well, and of course, overall opinion or NPS, the Net Promoting Score, to make sure that we are also, capturing those feedbacks and being fully transparent onto those feedbacks. So yeah, you see the brand identity. It's there on every documents that we are producing, and the goal was really to have this brand identity, so that when we are talking about the Climate Fresk, we relate to those images. So that's about communication and marketing and internal promotion. If I move to the next slide, it is more about the rollout itself of the workshops and across the different sites. So as I was mentioning, we had 8 people, now 6 people that are trainers, but it was really important for me to have also some relay locally to organize those workshops in our different entities in Europe. So I have had some local supports in Bulgaria, in France, in Germany as well, to organize such workshops, especially on the registration, on the preparation of the room itself. We also had, the support of the Climate Fresk professional coaches, because as part of the discussion we had with the organization, we had also the ambitions to basically improve ourselves. So our first 2 sessions that we drove internally, those 2 sessions were we had 2 professional coaches during those sessions to provide us some feedback of what we can improve during those workshops. Then what we organize is that, because we have implemented a European rollout, I wanted to be coherent between the message that we are communicating throughout the workshops and also our day-to-day actions. So I organized kind of a train marathon to reach the different sites that we have in Europe. So that was the goal, was really to have this whale oil logistics to make sure that we were, taking the appropriate trains and the appropriate connections over 1 week to go through the different entities. So what I did is that I ran from Geneva, where I am based, to Lyon, where we run 1 Climate Fresk there in the morning. Then in the afternoon, I took the train to go to Paris. Paris, we ran a workshop on the following day. Then the following day in the afternoon, I took the train to Frankfurt, to Germany, to run 1 workshop there. Actually 2 workshops, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. And in the night, I took the train to Munich to then run a workshop on the following days, in Munich. And then from Munich back to Geneva. The only hiccup that I had is that when I tried to look at, going by train to Sofia, where we had our key production site, it was really complicated. It was more than 36 hours journey, so I decided, unfortunately, to fly there. But I think the message was there that when we are into Western Europe, it's quite easy to travel. It's quite easy to work in the train, and I think we should favor such a transportation mode. And then last but not least, what we try to implement as well is that, as part of the workshops, there is a dedicated section that is, related to actions and to the order of magnitude. And here we really try to tailor this part to the local countries so that it makes more sense for them. So for each and every single countries that we visited, I leveraged basically on the local Climate Fresk network to get some data, to make sure that we have, local data available regarding, for example, the individual carbon footprint, local site as well to calculate your footprint, and so on and so forth. And also add, of course, a taste of LEM, because, of course, the goal was to make it into a professional boundaries. So I was also communicating onto, what are the results of our environmentality assessment, what are the climate objectives, what are key emissions that we have at LEM, and so on and so forth. And of course, I think what was quite important is to also bring some good examples that you see on the news regarding, climate change, to really trigger the participation of people, to make it even more interactive. So that was really the last part of the rollout, is to make sure that the content itself was also reflecting, once, the news, two, what we are doing at LEM, and three, some inputs of the local countries. And you see here on the slide, of course, some pictures that we took during the workshops. So what are the difficulties that we had? Because of course there were some difficulties when we rolled out such a workshops. We had, in the first place, kind of a honeymoon phase with a lot of participants that wanted to join. Usually, the early birds are the ones that are not the most difficult to convince. Those are the people that have already some good understanding, I would say, of what is climate change, but they wanted to discover a new way to talk about it. But this phase was going correctly down. So we are currently, moving to attract more and more people. We had also imagined to have a mandatory participation in some of the countries, especially in Germany when I was going there, and we have a smaller number of people. So basically, we decided that if I was traveling to Germany, we would like to have as much as people being trained. But of course, we had some interesting debates here. But of course, some reluctancies compared to what the Climate Fresk is offering. Thirdly, I would say that basically, in the first place, it was not easy to convince participants that they should be dedicating 3 hours and a half of their time to such a workshops. But it was more about discussing with them why it is important to invest such a time, that it needs to be seen really as an investment, and as per what the company is willing for their employees to be, in which direction they want them to go. The implementation of the collective of the ideas, I think that was also still something that we are working on, because some of them requires really a dedicated investment to show that we are taking this seriously, to show that all those actions that have been generated are also here to be implemented. So sometimes we are struggling on specific actions due to lack of time, lack of resources, and so on and so forth. But we are fighting on every ideas to make sure that we are moving forward, and we are communicating, as you've seen on the previous slides, on this one. And last but not least, what I would like to highlight is that we did not anticipate too much the following step, to really leverage on the energy that was generated onto the workshops. You probably know already quite well the Climate Fresk, and the state of mind that the people, that the participants are in when they are finishing such a workshops. They really want to act, they really want to move forward, they have a lot of energies. And here, after the workshop itself, we had not really too much anticipated on what do we want to do next to keep such a level of energy. So this is a reflection that we are still having, but we have already some ideas. So what about the next step? So we are currently rethinking basically the awareness around sustainability as a whole. So we are trying basically new communication campaigns, try to wake up, the different employees within the organization with, campaigns that are, a bit more LinkedIn oriented with, emoticons and that kind of action sentences to make sure that people are also moving forward. We also try to wake up the competition among the different teams, showing that okay, some of the team they are very good, such as HR and procurement. You can see it here. They are the teams that have been participating quite a lot into the workshop, while other teams such as finance, general management, quality are only between 25 and 50% have a participation rate, sorry, between 26 and 50%. We are currently aiming as well at the Asia rollout with contact there. We want as well to make sure that the Climate Fresk workshop would be part of a mandatory step of our onboarding journey and sustainability learning program. So we are currently working on this to really provide to each and every single employee a dedicated learning program to get a bit more information regarding sustainability. We are also thinking about deploying a design thinking methodology on topics that are a bit more tricky to implement, to make sure that we have dedicated workshop to reflect on specific, points that have been highlighted or ideas that have been, highlighted during the workshops. And last but not least, in order to continue having people aware of sustainability or understanding sustainability a bit more, we are currently, reworking with my colleagues in charge of brand management, basically some events on sustainability to make sure that we have people that understand or that are stimulated on a regular basis onto those topics. We are currently, for example, organizing a mobility challenge day where basically everyone who is participating will need to go to the office using sustainable commuting means. We are also working on a dedicated quiz where you can win free cookies if you answer to questions that are related to sustainability. So the goal is really to make sure that we can also work into that direction and bring this topic on a regular basis to the agenda. Yeah, that's it on my side.
Thank you very much, Quentin. I just checked. You sent me the first email was exactly a year ago for the first request. What a journey it has been so far. There's going to be a question from Trung. How did you run discussion and action session to make it relevant to the company sustainability strategy or relevant to different departments within the company?
So as of today, these sections, we have decided basically to have a mixed section. So have people from the different department participating all together and not having, per department discussions or per department workshops to have more ideas generated throughout the workshops. So when we are into the actions phase, so really focus basically as part of my presentation onto LEM, what are the key also emissions sources or sources of emissions within the company. And we also requested basically the company to the employee to think about those ones, for example, purchase component. This is really something where we had high emissions or scope 3 category 1. So we also requested people to have a reflection on this category especially, but every idea was good and was noted down.
Wonderful. We have another question. Have you rolled out the Climate Fresk with blue-collar employees, e.g. operators?
Yes, we did. That was also a wish from actually our team, because we have employees. So we have a production site in Geneva, we have a production site in Bulgaria. So in those two locations, we really try to have also blue collars employee coming over in order to integrate them a bit more into this kind of workshops. That was also a wish from them to be more integrated, with people working in the office, and to be able to provide, some ideas and be in contact with them. So yes, we loop them in, definitely.
And also there was another question, is how did you manage to convince the top management? Were they already all in, or did you have a little bit of diplomacy to do? How did that go?
So top management was not easy, definitely. So on my side, I have been pitching the Climate Fresk on a lot of different meeting that I had with the top management during EXCO meeting, regarding in senior leadership meeting as well, trying to onboard as much as people as we can. We had the ideas to create a dedicated Climate Fresk for the top managers, especially to have them to kind of force their participation. But in the end, we decided to keep our approach to have it mixed, so that those top managers, they can also be in discussions with other people within the company, and not always doing things among them. So we kept this approach, having mixed meeting of different functions and different hierarchy level into the company. But that was a lot of convincing and a lot of actions and sweat to have them on board. And as of today, to be really honest, not all of them have been participating to the workshop. So it's still something that I need to be working on.
Okay, so there's still a lot of potential there, but
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well done for bringing them in. That's really a very important part. And I think a lot of companies can relate when they roll out Climate Fresk. And we have another question from Richard asking, do you have any plans to further expand your internal network of facilitators?
Yes, this is definitely something that I am aiming at. If I just quickly jump back to the next step, this is the aiming at Asia rollout. As of today, we have not been, rolling out the Climate Fresk into Asia. We focus on Europe only because that was easy for me and the facilitator to go there. And now we are really thinking about make it more global. So here we have a two approach. First of all, I am currently in contact with, local Climate Fresk entities or local Climate Fresk relay. So I have contact in China, I have contact in Japan, I have contact in Malaysia where we have operations to organize, to follow the same approach, organize first of all local workshops with our Green Committee members to make sure that they are on board, they know what it is, and to make it kind of an event there. So this is, for example, something that I'm discussing with Malaysia. We want to organize one event in the morning, one event in the afternoon, and create kind of a whole day event on sustainability. And then out of those first 28 participants, because that would be two groups of 14, I would like to recruit facilitators for a bigger rollout there. So this is really the ambitions, to have facilitators, especially in Malaysia and in China, where we have a bigger operation site and where we need the support locally, two, people speaking local languages, because of course, if we want to roll it out in the production plan in China, on my side, even though I'm traveling, if I would be traveling there, that would be a kind of a hassle to communicate in Chinese. So yes.
Okay, fantastic. It's nice to see that Climate Fresk can respond to your needs and support you in every single country of the globe.
Or at least the one where we are located at the moment. So exactly.
That's wonderful. And we have another question from Thomas. We have a few more minutes, so you're welcome to stay and listen. A question from Thomas: would you be able to share project plan templates on setting up the Fresk in the country? Maybe it's that would be something for us, Florian, to do. Maybe in cooperation, or that's a very interesting question. But and Quentin, the question to you, indeed, would you be able to share project plan templates?
I can share some of the template that I have. Yeah, definitely.
What-
Project plan. I'm thinking what kind of document I can share, because I'm not sure that I have, as of today, a dedicated template with all the different steps of the project plan. But I can definitely, create a few bullet points to answer to that needs. Yeah.
Right. We'll do a post webinar email so we could have resources in there.
Thanks a lot for your time. I'm in the process of organizing kind of a global Fresk in our company, where I'm trying to delegate to write local green teams, we call them. And most of them have never experienced the Fresk, so it's very interesting also to hear how you plan to have first a small workshop for those teams so that they can then engage the broader organization. So thanks a lot for sharing.
No problem. And what I can add actually is that I'm also considering to implement an online training, the online Climate Fresk version. So I have participated myself to an online sessions to understand a bit more how it was facilitated by professionals, and to then roll it out. That would be also quite I would say, in terms of finance, that would be of course a bit more cheaper if we roll it out internally using only online training. So and we are thinking to roll it out as a pilot as well, create one dedicated in the online session and see how people are reacting to this, to make sure that we can also, if it's an option, being able to propose such an options, because we have in some countries, I'm thinking about the UK, I'm thinking about Italy, where we have a limited number of people. We have 5 people here, 3 people there. So of course it's not easy to have a Climate Fresk workshop on site for everyone. So I'm also considering really the online version, even though on my personal feeling I don't feel it as attractive as the physical one. But we need to make it appealing.
Yes, thank you. And Richard wanted to say something.
Yeah, thanks, Quentin, for that presentation. Very interesting. How do you maintain basically the knowledge within the facilitator network? Do you have regular meetings with them, or how does that work?
Yes. So this is more regarding our then internal governance organization. So on our side at LEM, the way we are structured, and we are quite new into sustainability. So I'm not. I'm just saying what we've been, creating over the past 2 years, is that we have a central team regarding sustainability. So when I'm talking about central team, so this is myself and 2 other people. So we are a very small team, but I have local green committees. So for each and every single of our key sites. So I was mentioning Japan, China, Malaysia, Bulgaria, France, and Switzerland. So for those 6 entities, we have local green committees that are people that are willing to go the extra miles and be working on to sustainability. And this is throughout those committees that on my side, I have those local relay, and that I am maintaining on a regular basis, the learning and the level of expectation in terms of knowledge for the team to be able to facilitate and continue the facilitation of such workshops.
Hina was asking, does HR also play a role on engaging different departments internally and giving incentive and basically support? Does the HR office help you?
So HR is supporting on different topics. Talking about the incentive, yes. So this is something that we have defined for senior leaders. Part of their bonus is linked to sustainability, and especially environmental impact, so a reduction of our scope 1, 2, and 3. And we have, and it's quite transparent, we are calculating on a yearly basis an intensity ratio, which is basically the CO2 emissions per product that we are putting on the market. And this is basically what we are using to, this KPI that we are using to incentivize our top managers. So this is implemented at really top level of the companies. And then the HR team throughout our learning team, as I was mentioning, we are currently working together hand in hand to define this learning path, I would say. So we have added one sustainability brick, I would say, to the onboarding journey, having one dedicated presentation on sustainability. So that's point number 1. And point number 2, make it the Climate Fresk one of the mandatory steps of this onboarding journey. And point number 3, and this is what I'm currently working with the learning team as well, having a dedicated learning path with the support of LinkedIn Learning, because we are currently under LinkedIn Learning, of content that we would be tailoring to each and every single functions, having in mind, the requirement and the objective of each and every single function regarding sustainability. So we are currently discussing with head of functions, head of procurement, head of R&D, head of sales, to understand what they expect as well from their team to be better at in terms of sustainability, and to really define a learning path dedicated to their team, so they can adhere a bit even more to such a topic. So this is the role of HR here, and especially the learning team.
Well, thank you very much, Quentin, for sharing all these fascinating elements of your journey, including the challenges and how you overcome them. Thank you to everyone for joining us, and for your really interesting questions. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you on board.